Welcome to the channel. Welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before getting into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let's jump straight into it. So firstly, give us your thoughts and feelings on the match yesterday. I'm still frustrated about it, not because of the performance though for once, but because of the fact we did not win that game. How did we not win? We absolutely battered Arsenal in every aspect, I felt. And, I think they would have been lucky and come away. If they came away with a 0-0, I think they would have been very lucky with that. I thought it was a really, really good performance. And overall, some very, very good standout performances as well. I thought we started the first half really well. And Boomer was causing them problems running through. Mount started well. I thought we looked good and comfortable on the ball for the first 10 minutes or so. But then we conceded from the corner. We'll discuss that in more details in a second. After a stupid pass by Bruno in the area, I'm sure you're going to get involved in the comments regarding that. And then Bayindir does a Bayindir, doesn't he? Channeled his prime Taibbi and flapped at it. I do think there's an argument to say that it's a foul, but he was still weak as piss. Like, you've got to do better than that. And he's got form for it. It's not the first time neither. And then afterwards, the interesting thing I felt after that was, so many times last season we've seen United go behind, lose our heads, lose our shape. Everyone goes out of position and reverts back to type and forgets the system and the tactic. And I felt for like 5-10 minutes afterwards, Arsenal dominated the ball a little bit more. But I loved the fact we kept in shape and we just settled things down for that 10-minute spell after conceding and then just grew back into the game. And I think from that point onwards, if ever you're going to pick a winner after that, it should have been us, because we created so many chances and just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And it felt like a little bit of a, similar story to last season, because all I was saying after games, mistakes at the back, cannot score goals. It was the same thing, but it just felt a little bit different though, because the performance was just really, really good. And there were some standout performers. Like, it's probably easier to say, which players didn't play well than it is to say which players did play well, in my opinion. And then the other interesting thing I felt at the start of the second half, how are we going to start that game? Because again, going back to last season, we know we had difficulties at the end of a half, and then we'd start the second half just as bad, or we'd concede an early goal, and then before you know it, you're 2-0 down, chasing the game even more, and then it becomes a bit of a basketball game. But even though the second half, I felt we dropped off a little bit, but that's expected. It's the first game of the season. We're not fully match fit, not fully match sharp. Some players did tire, like Luke Shaw, I felt was getting lazy at the end. Casemiro was getting lazy at the end with the little back heels and stuff. I feel that's like a fitness issue. But, overall, I was super impressed. There were some absolutely standout performances, and it's just frustrating that we didn't win because of a goalkeeper error. And I'm sure you're going to have something to say about that in the comments as well. And we'll go through all the goalkeeper updates and stuff in a second. But just so annoying. And in the big games, those goalkeeper mistakes make a difference. If you're talking, I don't know, hopefully obviously it's the first game, we need to see some consistency from this team, which has always been the issue, because we know we can perform well against the big teams. It's going to be really interesting to see how we perform next weekend, against Fulham. But in that sort of game, I would imagine that if you do make one mistake and concede a goal, I'd fancy our chances for the forwards to at least maybe score a couple more goals. But against the big game teams, those fine margins make a difference. And when you've got a goalkeeper that's not good at doing that, but then it doesn't, I think my feeling is, even if Onana was in net, I wouldn't fancy Onana to not do that neither, and that's the problem. The goalkeeper is a massive issue. I felt that in midfield was a bit of an issue as well, although it wasn't, luckily it didn't cause us that many problems against Arsenal, but there were occasions still when they broke through, and I felt had they been a bit sharper in front of goal, maybe they could have counter-attacked us a little bit better, but they were a little bit wasteful with their passing and that as well. So there were still clear signs there for everyone to see. It's the two areas that a majority of fans are saying, the midfield and the goalkeeper situation. But, because Raya had a similar thing at the other end and punched the ball away and didn't flap at it like a Taibbi regen. But, it is what it is. But yeah, overall, I was super impressed. Let's go through. I mean, Mason Mount, look at this. 100% tackles won. 21 out of 27 passes completed, 6.7 kilometres covered, 4 out of 6 long passes completed, 2 chances created, 2 shots. Thought he was excellent. Dorgu, 100% tackle win rate, 22 passes completed, 18 sprints, 11 out of 18 duels won, 4 out of 4 tackles won, 3 shots, 3 crosses, 1 block and hit the post as well. Brilliant. Matheus Cunha, 77% shot accuracy, 31 kilometres an hour top speed, 8 duels won, 4 out of 6 dribbles completed, 4 shots, 3 shots on target, 2 tackles, 1 key pass. I thought Matheus Cunha was excellent, even more so the second half, which is when he was dropping deep and playing in his natural position. Like, he was literally making me make sex noises watching him play and getting me on the edge of my seat, which is something I haven't done watching Man United for a very, very long time. So Matheus Cunha I thought was excellent. Just like that little bit of sharpness and cutting edge in front of goal as well. But I thought he was very good. And it showed to me when he dropped a little bit deeper in the second half. Not that his first half performance was bad, by the way. He was still good in the first half, I felt. But he was even better second half. And when we had that focal point, when Sesko was on and he was dropping deeper, I felt it helped the team a little bit more as well. And he was creating a little bit more from there as well. But that's just because obviously we've got Sesko in. He needs to get up to speed. So hopefully we can see that develop in the future. Bryan Mbeumo I thought was excellent as well. 100% dribbles completed, 20 sprints, which was the most, 23 passes completed, 5 shots, 5 crosses, 2 shots on target, 1 chance created. And again, I felt he faded a little bit towards the end of the second half, but he lacked that sharpness in front of goal as well. But again, it's the first game of the season where everyone's getting that. This is going to be the problem. Everyone's getting to know each other, I think, up front and know each other's movements, because there were times when we were a bit wasteful with the passes. We did good build-up play, got to the edge of the 18-yard box, and that final ball just wasn't quite at it, which was really annoying. And then the standout performer for me, Matheus de Ligt, 88% pass accuracy, 50 passes completed, 10 defensive actions, 8 duels won, 6 clearances, 5 aerial duels, 2 out of 3 tackles won, 3 shots, 2 blocks, 1 key pass. Absolutely colossal performance I felt from Matheus de Ligt, but that doesn't take away from the others. You know, I could be here all day. I felt Ledy Yoro was excellent as well. I thought Luke Shaw was really good. Casemiro had a decent game, so I felt until he tired. The ones that were like, you know, questionable with Bruno Fernandes, Diego Dallo, and Ugarte when he came on filled me with absolutely zero confidence of him being the answer to the midfield problem, giving the ball away like that. When we just back passed it straight to Arsenal, I'm thinking, hold on, where's your head at the moment? Because, you know, like, and it maybe that's the reason why Casemiro was starting games in midfield. But yeah, I mean, going back to Matheus de Ligt, kept this man quiet. I mean, 5 aerial duels lost, 4 passes completed, 0 out of 1 dribbles completed, 0 shots, 0 chances created, 0 assists, 0 goals. Like, if I was comparing performances between Gyökeres, who was on the pitch, and Benjamin Sesko when he came off the pitch as well, you know, I know he didn't really do much, but there was some moments from Sesko as well where he did more, I felt, in his cameo than Victor Gyökeres did as well. And that's because I think Matheus de Ligt was absolutely colossal. He was absolutely bullying him like he was a little boy, which I thought was excellent from the back. And I just liked the shape as well. I thought we were, you know, overall, it's disappointing because obviously we didn't win. I don't think we played like a defeat, though, anywhere near it. I think it's widely shared that United were by far the better team, and Arsenal got away with one there as well. You know, it's just frustrating because I thought overall the one-on-one defending was good. Our pressing looked good. We were in shape. We were aggressive. Dominated everything. Just could not put the ball in the back of the net. And we are playing against one of the best defences in Europe, in my opinion, in Arsenal. You know, it's affected, and we lose to a freaking corner from Stoke 2.0, which is so annoying. But again, we've only got ourselves to blame because we're the one, you know, that aren't replacing the goalkeeper, and they've got 2 dodgy goalkeepers and a 40-year-old. So what do you expect? But very annoying, especially to lose that game by that one mistake. Like, it's just very frustrating. But overall, I felt there were far more positives than negatives to take away from that game as well. I just felt like we were, you know, but we were starting to show signs, even like playing out from the back. I felt we looked really good at times, beating Arsenal's press. That was coming along lightly. Like, we looked like a well-organised, well-coached, fit, aggressive team. And I haven't seen that from United for a while. I just hope we can continue that way because we've always been able to put in big performances against big teams. Fulham away next weekend, and then so on, and building that momentum. That will be the key, because I think once the forwards start firing, I mean, Matheus Cunha looked really good, apart from that final end product, and Mbeumo looked good, apart from that final end product as well. If you get Sesko on the pitch, because there were moments I felt where we could have cut the ball back into the 6-yard box for a tap in for a striker, and there was no one even in the area, let alone in the 6-yard box as well. So those little details, I think will help us. But there's still an issue in midfield, and there's clearly still an issue in goal as well. But give us your thoughts and feelings on the match in the comments below. Now, on the goalkeeper situation, Wayne Rooney said, yes, goalkeeper is key. It's the key thing that Amorim needs to sort out. I think it has to be a thing. With Donnarumma, he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. It'd be crazy if Man United don't go for him. Wage demands, I don't think he's a risk. I saw a stat the other day that errors leading to direct goals, his was 0. I haven't fact-checked that, but that's Wayne Rooney and the BBC highlighting that the goalkeeper is a area of concern. Gary Neville, there's a glaring issue for United that cannot be ignored, and that is that they need to find a new goalkeeper. They have to. I am absolutely unequivocal on that. I would agree. Alex Crook, when he said that, I asked Amorim if Manchester United would sign a new goalkeeper this window. He said it's hard to say what's going to happen, but I don't see that happening in an easy way, suggesting that it's not going to be easy for us to get a goalkeeper, whether that's because of funding, because we know we need exits first, but then also, who do you go for when the goalkeepers you've got don't want to leave? Like it is a bit of a mess. But I think you just go for someone anyway and just let them fight it out. Just let them fight it out. As long as it's not like going for someone like Donnarumma, for example. I don't think we can have 2 goalkeepers in Onana and Donnarumma that are on like 150 to 200 odd grand a week. I don't think that's. But someone like Senne Lammens, who we'll come on to him in a second, who's not going to be necessarily that expensive on that bigger wages, I think you just do it anyway, or get somebody in on loan. I know we've tried for Emi Martinez. Can we get somebody else in on loan, possibly, as a way to just force these players out and just say, look, if you're not performing, then you're not playing, and it's as simple as that. But we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. When asked himself directly on Onana, he said, I haven't ruled out Onana. It's not a question of ruling out Onana, but of putting Onana ahead of one of the other two in 1 week of training and without having played. Tom Heaton and Altay Bienda did a good job during the pre-season. I am satisfied with all 3 goalkeepers. So he was alluding to the fact that he didn't drop Onana. It was just the fact that he's only just come back from fitness, and Bienda and Tom Heaton have played more minutes in pre-season as the reason why Onana was admitted. Part of me hoped that he was doing a Rasmus Hojlund. We'll come on to his news in a second as well, where he's just literally like, look, just get out. I'm not going to play you, to force him out. But it doesn't feel like that's the way, going off of what Ruben Amorim himself and Fabrizio Romano said. So the feeling of those close to André Onana is that Ruben Amorim made this decision because he is returning from injury. André Onana accepts the decision and does not believe it is related to his future, although I would like Amorim to, we're getting ruthless with a kid in Rasmus Hojlund. Why can't we start getting ruthless with some of these players that are just throwing the ball in the back of the net each week? Because it's going to happen again. We're going to lose games like that this season, but and it needs addressing. It is a massive area of concern. Samuel Lucker said that United needed a new goalie this summer, not to outright replace Onana, but to offer credible competition. So that could be the way they look to go down, get somebody to replace Bienda that's better than Bienda and arguably could be better than André Onana as well. I think that's probably more plausible going off the recent reports and stuff. Interestingly, the Sun was saying Inter Milan are interested in re-signing André Onana. Inter Chiefs believe he would be open-minded to a return, but it came from the Sun, so we'll need to take that with a pinch of salt, because it's not like them to jump on a bandwagon and put a clickbait article out at a time when every Man United fan's raging about the goalkeeper situation. I know what will get views. Let's put a story about Onana leaving. So we'll need to take that one with a pinch of salt. Romano did say, though, that I would keep an eye on Senne Lammens. Manchester United have been monitoring him for a long time, and the interest remains. If Manchester United decided from now to the end of the window to invest in a goalkeeper, Lammens is the goalkeeper they like. So according to Fabrizio Romano, because Donnarumma is looking like he's going to go to City, with Edison going to Galatasaray, that limits the options. Emi Martinez, we know we've tried on loan. Villa don't want to do a loan. They want to sell him, but they want £40 million for him. I think that's going to be too expensive for us to go out and do when we've got the situation we have with the goalkeeper. So someone like Senne Lammens, who's going to be a lot cheaper, could be a plausible option. And, I say, why not just go and do it, even if it's a cheap option like that, and just loan out Bienda if you can't sell him, or do something. Just force them out. If they don't want to move, because they don't want to leave because they've got their slippers on and they're comfortable, do something to give them some competition. And then, it's World Cup year. Good luck. Good luck finding minutes here when you've got, another goalkeeper ahead of you, is what I say now. But we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out, and see where we go with that situation. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below, as I am sure that you will. Now let's go through the rest of the transfer news. So Napoli's Antonio Conte eyes Joshua Zirkzee as a transfer target following Romelu Lukaku's injury. Now that came from an Italian outlet that works for Foot Mercato, I think it is. Suggesting that Joshua Zirkzee might be of interest to Napoli following Lukaku's injury. I've been here before, though, with Italian media and Joshua Zirkzee going back, and none of it materialised. I don't think we would look to sell Joshua Zirkzee, although if we get a decent offer, where is his future in the team? Because, he's playing Cunha. Cunha can play up front and did a decent job yesterday, although obviously we didn't score a goal, which is questionable to say after not scoring a goal, but I actually thought the performance warranted a goal. I just think we lacked that little bit of sharpness, that final detail, that little tiny, not quite in the corner, not quite accurate with our shooting or with our passing, which just comes, I think, with just the fact that it's the first game of the season. Is he going to play in one of the 10 positions? Competition there as well. So if you got a decent offer, I don't know. Let me know in the comments, what would you do? But the thing I would say, I'd want to see a bit more credibility, because Italian media have always been on the case of Joshua Zirkzee going back, and it's always been dismissed. Would Napoli not be maybe looking more at Rasmus Hojlund as opposed to Zirkzee? That could be plausible, but give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments. On Rasmus Hojlund, Fabrizio Romano said, Rasmus Hojlund and Manchester United, it's definitely over. Hojlund won't be part of Manchester United's squad against Arsenal. His club sends clear message, pushing for his exit. United open to permanent and also loan deal. Hojlund will assess his options, follows Laurie Whitwell. So Laurie Whitwell was the first journalist that broke the story yesterday that Hojlund wasn't even on the bench, wasn't going to be in the matchday squad. And then Romano's posted saying it's definitely over, and we're looking for an exit solution, whether it's a loan or a permanent sale for Rasmus Hojlund. I think it's clear. That's a clear message, isn't it, to not even make the bench in the opening game of the season. After the game, Amorim said it is a fight for the places. We will see what's going to happen on the market. Different characteristics. Rasmus has the same characteristics as Ben Sesko, so sometimes we need to choose. So he's effectively saying that he's got the same characteristics as Sesko, and Sesko's my new signing. I'm going to play my new signing, so the minutes are going to be limited for Rasmus Hojlund, and we'll need to see what happens in the rest of the market. So effectively saying, yeah, we want to sell him, isn't it? That's the way I read Ruben Amorim's interpretation there as well. ESPN had been saying that Milan sporting director said that the following: Hojlund is a good option for us. We are thinking about him, but in the transfer market, you never know what could happen. So it still feels like that's the most likely outcome for Rasmus Hojlund, is a move potentially to Inter Milan with a loan, with an option or stroke obligation to buy. We'll need to wait for the details. Although, if Napoli are looking for a striker now, Lukaku's injured, could that be a viable option? We've had interest from Fulham potentially in Hojlund. Dortmund were linked with him the other day as well. So hopefully we can get something moving this week. There's only 2 weeks left of the transfer window now, so we do need to get a shift on with some exits, because we need to bring players in. We need a midfielder, we need a goalkeeper, which leads me nicely on to the midfield news. So David Ornstein said that Manchester United are not planning to proceed with the Carlos Baleba transfer, largely because he's not for sale. The price would be too high even if they were to consider his sale this summer. It doesn't mean United's interest goes away, maybe in the summer of 2026, so suggesting that maybe we'll go back in for Carlos Baleba next summer, but that doesn't necessarily help us this season. On this season's targets, or the targets from beyond Baleba, he said they've been linked to the likes of Hojlund from Sporting Lisbon, Adam Wharton. I'm not sure those are likely to come to fruition, so downplaying the recent links that we've had with Hojlund and Adam Wharton, because again, it's what we decided to do with the midfield. I think Ederson might be the other one, because I'm thinking if you're going for Baleba next summer, do you get his partner now? Do you get someone like Ederson in, who might be a viable option? But again, there's no real, he is a player that we've watched, scouted. We've had made a bid last summer for as well, but there's not really been any recent links with Ederson. But we'll have to see. I do think we need to sell some players first. Which links me nicely in the exit news. David Ornstein also said they want to get players out of here. André Onana is an interesting situation. They would look for a new goalkeeper, but there is no sign of him going. Garnacho, good chance he goes to Chelsea. Jadon Sancho, Roma in talks club to club, but he hasn't decided. Rasmus Hojlund, his time here looks to be coming to an end, and Sancho Malacia could also leave the club. So suggesting that, look, We want to address the goalkeeper situation, but there's no sign of André Onana going. Garnacho to Chelsea, we know. Sancho to Roma, I'm going to go through next. Hojlund, we've just mentioned, and Malacia brought you some news yesterday regarding Roma potentially interested in him, but there's been another update on him we'll run through next. So on Jadon Sancho to AS Roma is heading towards a conclusion. Sancho has not accepted the offer, so Sancho has decided he does not want to go to Roma. Sky Sports were saying that Jadon Sancho now unlikely to join AS Roma. Roma made bid worth £20 million. Manchester United and Sancho spoke to the club. He wants to explore other options, told it had nothing to do with personal terms. Yeah, right. Besiktas are close to signing Jadon Sancho. They have reached an agreement with Manchester United. Final details are being discussed with Sancho. That came from a Turkish news outlet and reporter I don't know the credibility of, suggesting that Besiktas are close to joining Sancho. They've reached an agreement, final details to be discussed. They also went on to say that Besiktas is already prepared the video to announce Jadon Sancho. So just to summarise there before we go any further, Jadon Sancho has rejected the chance to go to Roma for whatever reason. Sky is saying not to do with personal terms, although, you know, you can let me know whether you believe that or not in the comments below. And then more reports suggesting that maybe he's decided to go to Besiktas, but Fabrizio Romano has said that Besiktas called 2 weeks ago to ask for deal conditions, but since then, no fresh contacts took place. Besiktas remain willing to match Manchester United's asking price, but Sancho is not accepting a move to Turkey now. It can be an option only later on, with Turkish market closing on September the 12th. So Fabrizio Romano saying he's not aware of anything imminent with Besiktas because Sancho doesn't want to go there. Like, what does he actually want? Like, tell me in the comments. I mean, I know we can't go into somebody's mindset, but he's rejected a good contract from Chelsea, doesn't want to go there. He's rejecting, Roma, doesn't want to go to Italy, doesn't want to go to Turkey or the Saudi Pro League because he wants to stay in the top 5 leagues. Like, what actually does he want? It's just really infuriating. Really infuriating me. Like, yeah, I'm going to remain professional and not speak any further regarding Jadon Sancho, but you let me know in the comments what do you think regarding it. It's absolutely infuriating, but, we are where we are, and it is what it is. I just, the only thing I think, this hopefully is the final window I have to speak about this Egypt, because it's absolutely infuriating and winding me up now, the whole Jadon Sancho situation. But moving on, so Malacia, so from Saudi Arabia, there was serious option last month. Malacia did not take that option because he wanted to play in a major European competition. Lille spoke to Manchester United but did not go through with it. AS Roma is working hard on the arrival of Malacia. The Italian top club wants to take 2 United players with the arrival of Sancho. Obviously, that's off now. Meanwhile, Ferroli, the Porto manager, also wants him. So this is from a good Dutch journalist suggesting that Saudi Arabia wanted him, but he doesn't want to go there. Similar to Jadon Sancho, doesn't want to go in the Saudi Pro League. Lille made an inquiry but didn't follow through with it. Roma, we know, were interested from yesterday's video, and Porto potentially could be interested in Malacia. He wants to bring Malacia to Portugal. Confirmed sources around the player. Besiktas is the 3rd club now hoping for the arrival of Malacia. So again, we'll just have to wait and see how all of that plays out. But to have a few clubs interested in Malacia is actually, actually encouraging, because we don't know anything on his book value. It would be a bit of money coming into the club, but again, he seems like one that doesn't want to go to Saudi, and hopefully we can get some offers in as well. It's just, there was another report today from Simon Stone saying that United are prepared or expecting a bid for Garnacho, but we don't want it. Like, nothing's happening. Nothing is happening with these exits, and we need some exits to happen for us to move on with our lives in the rest of the transfer window. But for whatever reason, we're no further down the line. Like, I don't know the reasons why. It's just very, very infuriating. Bit like the goalkeeper situation at the moment. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. That's you all up to date with the latest news and transfer updates. Don't forget to smash a like in the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you in the next one.